All right, y'all. I'm on my way home, and this just came to my mind, right? Because I was thinking about the young lady, the woman who left the message saying that after I think 8 years, y'all been together for 11 years, and your husband now wants a divorce, and you've been praying and everything. And I was thinking to myself, like, that's a hard pill to swallow. But just look to God. Look to God and pray. Yes, you can pray. Yes, you're supposed to pray. And hopefully your husband can open his eyes and see that what he is doing is he's putting his family in a horrible situation. I started to really think about, like, I have a dog, okay? I took this dog in. I wanted a dog, and the Lord gave me a dog. And I vowed to watch over my dog until he dies, okay? When he goes on to be with the Lord, I did what I was supposed to do as an owner, and that's to keep him, feed him, nourish him, and be kind to my animals, because the Bible says for you to be kind to your animals and stuff, right? Even with my cats and stuff. I remember I asked my husband for permission. Can we have a cat? And he went through this whole lecture how cats are a big responsibility. And I didn't realize when I took her on, she was pregnant. But when I took her on, I took her kittens on too. They were my responsibility. So it amazes me. I started thinking to myself of how a husband could say that he will have and hold to death do you part, and you don't even realize. First of all, I'm using animals as an example. When you become one flesh, you oversee your wife. And to sit up here, if I know my responsibilities as a pet owner, that I just can't give my dog away. That's my dog. Like, he looks up to me. Like, he all he knows is that mama's is gonna feed me, she gonna walk me. My cat start going off. If her bowl isn't filled out, she start crying out to the Lord. You know what I'm saying? I have an obligation to my pets. So how much more do you have an obligation to your husband and to your wife? And so I started to think about how I was at a time when my husband said that he wants a divorce. It's like your world is coming apart. But all you have to do is just trust God. I know you're not going to be able to see it and not even going to understand or even comprehend being without your husband that you've known so long to be your head. You know what I mean? But when we're living in a world where they're saying it's okay for a husband to walk away from his wife, or it's okay to interfere with this covenant, and men are not supposed to be responsible over their wives, and wives are not supposed to be submissive to their husbands. We're living in a world that's trying to say contradict everything that Jesus told you you're supposed to do. And so, I started thinking, like, marriage is just so, like, the issues of marriage in today and what Paul talked about, like, look, it's better not even to get married, for real. And so I even started to think, and I said this in my last video, if I became a widow and my husband passed away, I'll probably shed a couple of tears, like, but would I get remarried? I ain't even gonna lie. I don't even, nah. I don't think so. I don't know if I would ever want to go down that route again. Why, Mona? Because it's permanent. That's because, see, I'm my husband's wife until he passes on to be with the Lord. And if I marry again within the Lord, then I would still have to be someone else's wife until death. So if they decide to go haywire, if they all of a sudden, you thought they were an angel, but come to find out they were a hell bat, you are free, you're one flesh with that. Some people are, and I'm not sitting up here and saying that marriage is on the same accord. To respect and to love, right? The Jesus tells the husbands to love their wives as Christ loved the church, right? You're supposed to do that, right? But what happens when your husband just decided to say after 20 years of being with you, I changed my mind? And you like, wait, hold on, baby. Don't do this to me, because you do know this is permanent. And if you put me away, I cannot be with anyone else, because if I do, I'm committing adultery. So you putting me in a horrible situation here. And your husband like, I don't care, tough deal. Would I ever, I'm gonna be very honest with you. I'm gonna be very honest with you. Would I ever do it again if I ever became a widow? 80% of me is like, heck to the no. Heck to the no. That's heck no. Heck to the no. I never thought I would say that, but when you realize how serious marriage is, you wouldn't even want to put yourself, because it's just that serious. It is until death. And if your wife up and decide that she wants to run off with the daggone lawnmower guy, you gotta sit up there and remain unmarried unless you reconcile. But of course, too, your body's a temple, so you can't be out here humping and fornicating, because then you're committing sins, and then yes, you're bound for hell too. But it's a serious marriage. Is such a serious commitment that you are literally giving power and giving somebody trust. So to death do us part. And the whole time you did not think or you didn't think, you saw everybody else's marriage go before the justice of peace, and you thought, oh, that's so sad, that'll never happen to me. And now you find yourself not in the justice of peace, I'm sorry, you found everybody else's marriage go before a divorce court, and you thought in the back of your head, oh, we will never be like this. And now you see that your marriage is going through the same turbulence, because it's spreading like wildfire. Destruction, death. Satan wants to get a hold of anything and everything that is of God. He wants to get a hold of that. He don't want you to fulfill your marriage till death do you part. No, he wants y'all to go and start destroying yourselves. So would I ever get married again if I was to become a widow? No, I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna tell you right now, you can't even 60% of marriages end in divorce court. 60% of marriages. When you got a society that's telling you you can switch your wives up. You can switch them up, switch them like 10 speeds. You could trade them in like cars. You realize how serious it is. You're just like, you know what? I would think long and hard, and I'll be fasting, and Lord, I can't, no. I'm serious. I would be like, and you hear about all of the crazy stuff that's going on today. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm telling y'all the truth. Hey y'all, sorry about that. Yeah, I had to. You don't even have to think long and hard about that. See, some people try to say, oh, it's because, are you saying that because, just because you went through a bad experience? Look, this is my thing. I'm not sitting up here, because you rarely see marriages that are, I'm not even going to say thriving, because you got to keep in mind that marriage is until death. But it is a rare thing to see a husband and wife that's been together traditionally for some years, because they're up against so much. And again, you could be on the right accord. You could be doing everything as a great husband, as a great wife, but the other party may mess everything up. And I mean everything, for the children, for you. And I don't ever want to, I don't feel like putting that type of trust in nobody else again. I don't feel like, if I had a choice to do it again, I'll pass. That's me personally. I think I'm good. I think I'll just put God first. I'm fine with that. Nope. You know, it's just the reality of stuff. And guess what? I don't feel bad for taking that choice. There are some women out here, they choose to live a life of celibacy, and they just focusing on God and living the life that they want, and they're happy, okay? Now, I'm not sitting up here saying that marriage is just doomed, but when you put trust in people, and you find out that the Bible is so true when it tells you, why put trust in man? Because man will fail the mess out of you. And I'm not sitting up here saying that a husband and a wife is just, but in today's world, the issues with marriage and how we're living in an adulterous time right now, when there's an apocalyptic divorce rate that's going on, that people choose to acknowledge. They act like, no, it's not really happening. Hold on real quick, y'all. Hold on. I'm gonna put my stuff in the back. Hold on. Gotta get some gas. Hold on. Yeah, I'm not playing it, and I'm just keeping it real. I'm keeping it real, because it's one thing when your spouse walks away, or the influences from the outside world came in between your marriage, but it's on a whole nother level when God is still holding you accountable, and regardless if they go somewhere, you're still supposed to remain unmarried or reconciled. That is a cruel thing to put into somebody else, that somebody else has, and that you are obligated to it. And I think it's cruel, but see, the way God, it was never intended for you to separate. So now that I realize how real that is, I don't think I ever want to give that power over. I'm just keeping it real. I'm just keeping it real. A lot of people won't say, people be thinking like, shoot. So would I ever want to, I'll show up, I'll bake somebody a wedding cake, I'll show up for the marriage, for the wedding, celebrating, but what? What, you want? What? Would I ever? No, I don't. I'm gonna be honest with you. 98% of me want to be like, no, absolutely not. This is more than just a job here. You're someone's wife, you're someone's husband. This isn't till death. This is not just like what I talked about early Just like what I talked about early, about, I have my dog and my cat. I've had my dog since I was probably, how old was I? 23. I'm 37 years old. You know what I'm saying? That's my dog. I'm not going to trade him in or act. That's family. You know what I mean? And he's still feisty as I don't know what. And until the good Lord calls him home, I done right by my pets and my animals. I went ahead and signed up for it. Now, when the good Lord calls him home, because I realized that you gotta walk a dog, you gotta feed a dog, you gotta do. It's a lot. It is a responsibility, and that's why most people, after they deal with it, sometimes they decide not to get a dog because they realize how big of a responsibility it is. And I'm just using a dog, but see, when you become one flesh, and you are obligated to this flesh, even if that person ain't around you. You can't even talk bad about them or nothing because God is going to hold you accountable. You can't be with nobody else. You got to until death. Do I want to give that power over again, ever again? No, I don't. I ain't going to lie. I'm not even gonna lie, y'all. I know you say, but Ramona, but what if, but what if what? There's men, I'm sure there's plenty of nice men out here. Let the next woman have it. Am I going the right way? Please tell me I'm going the right way, because for some odd reason I don't remember this way. Hold on, y'all. Yeah, and this is not in any way or fashion. This is not to discourage the married or someone who's about to get married, because guess what? You're obligated to your husband until death. You're obligated to your wife until death. You're one flesh, and if you commit to I can't say life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. You may get a good husband that will love you like Christ loved the church, or you may get someone who don't care, who would just be like, you know what I mean? That's all I need, for somebody to be like, oh yeah, I know that this is a faithful wife because I saw what you was with your late husband. So I'm just gonna dog you out, and I know you'll be faithful to me too. I don't think I would ever. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that God has something else for me and where He wants me to go, and I'm at peace with just doing me in the Lord. Shoot, man. I never thought, and I remember in my early 20s, even from the time that I was young, I always wanted to be a good wife. I wanted a husband. I wanted the picket fence. All of the things you see on Cinderella. All of the things you see on the movies, on these little love movies and stuff. I wanted that. You know what I mean? And God intended for a man and woman to have that joy, that love, that peace. But here comes Satan. What he like to do, steal, kill, and destroy. But the thing is that we supposed to be on the same team. So when your teammate turns against you and you realize you the only one holding it up, and God is still holding you accountable for it, I don't think I want to ever give that power over to somebody else. I'm not even gonna lie. You can't even, with this epidemic that's going on, you can't even be like, oh, Mona, but you got 60% of marriages go before divorce. And now they're saying that the marriage rate is so low because people aren't marrying anymore, because in these days and times, men and women are selfish of self. You don't know what you're going to get until you marry it. And then you're going to realize, wait a minute. I mean to laugh at it. You'll be like, wait a minute. You used to show up with roses and things. Why what's going on? And it's just horrible when somebody was like, I tricked you. That she was a good woman, and I knew that she was going to be there, so I tricked you. I'm not what you thought I was. So you want me to right? And I'm not saying that there are loving couples out there, couples that are equally yoked. You see what I'm saying? But the issue is you don't know if this other person will turn on you. You can't guarantee. Like, I literally could I would literally bet and be like, my husband would never do that. I'll bet all the money in my bank account. My husband would never do, I bet he wouldn't do that. Now, shoot. You just never know. And you're supposed to be able to trust your wife. Let me tell you something. A king can have a whole bunch of top officials around him. Wait a minute. I'm in the wrong place. A king can have a whole bunch of top officials around him. But one person that he would truly trust, is his wife, is his queen. Because he's more intimate with her than he would ever be with a bunch of these officials around him. The officials can come and go, but let's say, for instance, that she switch up like a 10-speed. Guess what? He still want flesh with her. So I ain't even gonna. I'm not even. I mean that. Life in the flesh is very short. It's very short. The average span of human beings is like, what, 70 years? I think a cat can live for about, what, 20, 18, 22 years, a little bit longer than that. So you mess around and marry somebody and you obligated until death and they still living and still breathing. I mean, it's bad for you to be wishing them their death on them, because that's not of God, you know. You still supposed to pray for them, but to go around for a second round, please. Are you saying, Mona, that? No, what I'm saying is this, and God could do. You never know. God could send you someone that's after God's heart. You just don't ever know. I was just sitting up here talking to a young man, and his biological clock is tap dancing. He wants to have children. He feel like he getting up there, but it just don't seem like he finding the right one. I'm like, you gotta pray and ask God to show you, because don't choose a pretty face, and as soon as she talk, all you hear is trash coming out her mouth. Because that pretty face and that shape can fade over time, and you're stuck with that until death. I've seen pretty women married to their husbands, and they come around, the husband just is nice, and as soon as the wife talk, I'm like, oh gosh, what made you marry that? So you was looking at her face and her body, but it just doesn't match up. But that's your wife now. You better be very careful. And I was telling this young man, I said, you got to be very prayerful of who, don't just look at the looks. Look at the integrity, the respect. Does she have a relationship with Christ? Look how she treats people around her. You know what I mean? Like, that's going to go. Is she a selfish person? Always want, but never want to give, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, be careful. Because you may be so upset you became one flesh with that. So would I think about, would I ever do this again? Would I ever get remarried again? I don't think so. I'm just going to be honest with myself. No. I'm just going to be honest. I like things right now. I like things right now, I'm not going to sit up here, and I'm not glorifying the separation. God has got me in a place right now where I'm focusing on the Lord, and I realize the seriousness of marriage. You know, I realize the seriousness of marriage, and it's just that serious that to be obligated until death, to be obligated until death. I'll pass. Don't mean I'm going out there dating and stuff either. I'm good. I'm fine. I'm just keeping it real. I'm just keeping it real. Now, those are for people who are living for Christ. You know, they're not seeking to be married, not seeking to have any relations. Like, you really want to just, live for the Lord, and you're good with that. You're fine with that. You ain't missing out on nothing. You say, okay, I tried the marriage thing. I'm near until death. I'm going to do what the Lord wants me to do. But if my husband takes his last breath, would I marry again? Just to even think about, my face balls up when I think about it. And it's not supposed to be that way. Most people are supposed to be like, if I had a loving husband and my husband went on to be with the Lord, I probably would marry again. Most people will be like, I don't think I would ever have a loving husband as I did, so I think I would just be okay by myself. But those of us who are, we're in a situation, we know this is until death, we would think long and we would think hard, probably not even that long, because now you realize that this is the long haul. This is the long haul. Life is way more than just marriage, just to let you know. There are people who don't get married, but we're talking about marriage here. I say 98% no. Nope. And the Lord says, if you do marry within the Lord, it would definitely have to be that other 2%. It definitely have to be in the Lord. I'll probably fast for 40 days, 40 nights. I'll probably go on a dry fast before I even think. I will have to go on a dry fast. I'm trying to tell you, no water, no food. I'm talking about, you can see my rib cages before. Come on, y'all. Y'all who know what I'm talking about, put away husbands, put away wives, and y'all know how serious this thing is. You would be really like, hold on. Wait a minute. For the ones that's just like, I'm looking for a husband, I pray that God gives you a good husband, a good man that's after God's heart. I pray that God gives you, if you're looking for a wife, never been married before, I pray that the Lord gives you a good, virtuous wife that will honor you, respect you, and yield to you like the church yields to Jesus Christ. I pray for you, and I pray that you get that. I hope you don't ever have to experience being put away and have to experience going before a divorce court. I hope you do not, but I want you to understand something, is that you are obligated until death, just like I am still obligated to my husband until death. But I'm going to tell you something. If he ever took his last breath and I became a widow, I was thinking to myself, I'll probably, because I just went through some old photos, and I have a photo of, it's one of my favorite photos of me and my husband. I used to have in our kitchen, and so I got me, my husband, and I have my daughter. I said, if he passed away, that picture probably go tucked away somewhere. I mean, hey, I did what I was supposed to do, but I'm just keeping it real, and I'm not. I don't want you to think like I'm making fun of marriage. I just look, y'all, look. It's real. It's real. It's real, and would I do it again? No. Nope. I'll show up at the wedding. I'll show up at everybody else's wedding. Give a toast. Talk. Let everybody know this is real. Would I do it again? Nope. Nope. I'm gonna be honest. No, I don't. I'm not. I don't. I. This